that they're not animals, and there's a reason why this is happening. Not an excuse, because you have personal responsibility. But we have to bring race and class into this, because these things have been happening. It is to me, no shock that the people who enslaved this country are the people who are catching the most problems now. And if we look at the places that have the most gun violence, you will see the educational system having problems in those same communities. You will see unemployment having very high in those communities. You will see people in foreclosure in those same communities. It's not by accident. I don't know if right now, today, it's on purpose, but it is systemic and systematic. And if we don't acknowledge that, then these kids think that something is wrong with it. But they are reacting as if any human being would react given the same set of circumstances. And I want to make sure that we always say that not as an excuse, but to put it in context so that we can move forward.
Thank you very much. Reaching out to the youth today, 7-year-old Howard told me he wanted to say something. You want to say something on this?
I want everybody to put down the gun, and I think that's a good place to start.
Push for peace.
Come on, can you say push for peace? How about if I come back?
Push.
All right.
My name is Kyle. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I want to say I have a story about the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, a lot of people kind of glorify the 80s. I just want to say for the people from the 80s, I would like for you to actually tell the true story. A lot of these kids are looking up to you, but they don't understand your pain. Because you don't express the pain, you express the glorify and part. You know, I'm with the organization Guns Down Life Up, and I ask you this much. I'm not asking you to put your guns down, I'm just asking why you're picking it up. The truth. And you are the future, you know what I'm saying? So we listen to you, we pay attention to you, man. So we salute you, bro.
And you gotta give them credit because we reached out to a lot of hip hop artists, and you see who's up here today. I gotta give the kids. I'm sorry, I got a weak spot here. What's your name?
Rockstar JTB, also known as Doom Treasure Bennett.
Oh wow! You're on my show. So what do you want to say on this topic about this? About the guns and what's happening on the street?
Well, to be honest, I live in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and I lost my uncle and my grandfather over gun violence, and I've also had loved ones who have been hooked on drugs, and I just want to tell them to stop the violence because I've actually seen somebody get hurt.
What did that do to you? How did that make you feel?
It made me feel sad. I want to cry, but I don't really like crying. I just want to say that I love everybody and I hope they stop. Everybody loves you.
It's something I think Dr. English said. Now, if this young child doesn't get the service she needs, the therapy to deal with that, which a lot of kids have to, when they start getting older, what do they do with that trauma and that imagery in their head?
Well, I'm going to get a comment right now from Vladimir Glitsky. She's a licensed mental health therapist. And what do you say when you hear children? These are very young children in our community. I always wondered as a reporter when I go to these scenes, I get so upset by it, but then these are happening in broad day and these kids are growing up with this as if it's normal.
Thank you so much for being here. And I feel like it's related to what the panelists were saying. It's about self-worth. I want to do something quickly with you guys that I usually do with my clients, very quickly. You see this dollar bill? Everybody sees it, right? You see it? It's crisp. So it hasn't been touched. So I'm crumpling it up. I'm tearing it up. My question to you is, does it still have its value? So that's for you guys. That's for the young people. You've been hurt, you've been crumpled, and I know like right now in the media, as opposed to this, your lives may seem as though it's expendable, but you still have your worth. Just like this dollar. I can go to the store and still use this dollar because it has its worth. So just like you. So it's just a matter of knowing your worth, knowing that you are worth it, and believing you are worth it.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, bad boy trainer right here, been wild on Twitter, pushing the push for peace. We appreciate it. What do you have to say?
Basically, I just want to let y'all know that I'm the alternative to prison to death. Like how Kareem got shot and the rest of the family out here, I did 8.5 years in federal prison, just got on parole, but when I first came home, I made an oath that I was going to push positivity as hard as I push negativity. And if y'all want to get with the movement, add bad boy trainer.
Add bad boy trainer. Hashtag push number 4 peace. All right, stand up and tell us your name real quick.
How you doing? My name is Chief Powers from part of Wheelchairs Against Guns. I think I heard a lot of good answers out here today, but one thing I didn't hear anybody speak about was the teachers. You know, these kids go to school and they're in class for about 8 hours a day. I think it's very important that the teachers take some responsibility and put something positive into these kids. When we go to the schools, a lot of the kids say that they feel like they don't get anything in return for the time that they spend in these classrooms.
All right, I'm just going to get a quick comment from the educator on the panel, Professor Darren Porcher. Just a quick comment about the education, then I want to bring back to the guns and the gun violence, but thank you for making that point.
I teach criminal justice every day on the university level. But I understand your point. However, when we look to the New York City Police Department's Community Affairs Bureau, they have a juvenile justice component that goes into these schools actively and teaches about gun violence, crimes in the city, and things to that effect. So this is something that does move forward. So there is an element that is out there. In addition to that, I heard someone mention, so there was an issue with social media. If you ever have any concerns in terms of something that your child is doing on social media, you can always reach out to the New York City Police Department's Juvenile Justice Bureau, and they can look at this, whatever you see on social media, and determine what the actual meaning of this is. Because, I mean, I'm not a young guy, so a lot of this stuff I see, even myself, I have a difficult time deciphering, but they can do it. So I urge you as parents, if you do stay abreast of what your kids do on social media, make sure you know, get their passwords, and constantly review their accounts. And if you see things that don't make sense, don't hesitate to make that call.
All right, don't hesitate. AT, you want to get in on this here as we're counting down the final minutes?
Yes, I appreciate it. This is about solutions, right? We all know the problems, and sometimes it really seems to be my opinion, short, because I think focus enough on solutions. And I'll say that the solution is problems in one room, and about this room, a place in every single one of us, right? Each all got a role of one. We can point at figures that other all will create a problem. What we have to do as a borough, as a city, there is that everybody just know their role. Something they need to get it and they need to do something. You know, looking on a couch, looking at our citizens, not making your street or people, I'm not getting people that want that shit and talk that we do the same young that you see either project or those these raised that is part of the problem. This is something. So a lot of us are here focused on daily. So when you fail created to from the solution, you'll come to a bigger problem. So I would hope that out of this here, we come out of this with some good forum that we really come out of this with work. Tangible solutions.
All right, and let's just quickly on the salute the show. Just focus. Quick, I'm in a should Jahar. Quick comment. I'm holding the mic. I have to pull it out real fast.
I think this is going. Like I think the solution is. I think Lou said we have to get ourselves. Don't take our youth. We have to listen, which is control. We said in the day you need a license that to us. So have that help you to realize that. Together we're strong, and we need to help each other out.
All right, there.
One person. That's what I'm saying. Go to one young person. Yeah, that's. You know, just in this, like, not parents. You know, because I was grew up like this, and you know, my mother as she on drugs, like this young, and as children, we connect with a lot of them because we just get everybody. We just was like eating at home, like we do. We go home and just be in our room, do whatever we want to shop. You know, you talk to, your child, talk to these people, let them know they exist. Every street, you pass, and they people probably they and say, not just to them. And I think feeling visible, activism. Say good morning.
We're going to break it down to a lot of this comes from we recognize it.
I just had basketball coach, there was no kid in the like, because, like, even want to go to this no more. Because we don't really find like it's nothing to do with it. That's so.
No,
when it comes to names about my most
sometimes. But when I want to talk, that they don't mean. When I want to talk about it, I believe because that boy triple said, I love young men, all of my brothers. But there's a threat that there was a young black queen. It's high as a triple. And that's where black come together and raise the talents and black begin crime all over. And so once we, we're talking all over the place, but I think my boy, make it was around and out where that we that all crazy and let them, my son, love them and that we embrace to lose. Yes, I lost your name, but I refuse to the rest of the
I like the organization. About some, anybody with solution, community, or outreaches here that and specifics, give us something you want to shout out to real quick. Give us talking about
Hey, what's up? Raise one. Big thing in the neighborhood. Yo, do that. I used to go up to them. I live in where you are. This they would answer you up to late third night. Know what I'm give them your here by the list. All right. They want to read it. Because teenage someone was killed and his son started in one investigation years of shot. Then had been on screen. There's a number of go and just react with everything you've sold and everything you can find to see. Chris, what are your thoughts on solution?